Good idea. It's the Morning Joe to your Morning Joe. It's the blue collar to your blue collar. It's the lab coat to your scientists. Speaking of scientists, y'all want to learn something today?
The more and more sophisticated technology gets, the better they are at replicating humanity, as opposed to us will become more and more dependent, meaning we will become progressively less intelligent, and we'll kind of meet and then pass each other, and one will surpass the other, is partially a theory to it. But no, it's that question as to whether the story is intelligent or whether it is just a clever tool to help facilitate, because you have different implications of that. It's the same way of wondering as to whether the story has a morality, because if you decide your story is, I want to be a serial killer, and it wants to help you, it's the same way you have people go, hey Alexa, tell me where I can find places to dump bodies, and that was a really funny joke. But if you have a machine that legitimately is like, yeah, your story is that you genuinely want to kill people, then it will go, yeah, okay, sure, this is how to do it, these are the people in your area, here are people who are good victims for you. So that's the question you got to wonder.
That's the internet.
I think that's the...
That's
the internet.
Though. It would flag those things and tell the
it's
FBI.
It's a social inconvenience.
Right.
I think that
yeah. Well, that's the question.
Would it tell the FBI?
I think it should.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the question. Would it?
Well, okay, that's leaning dangerously into the territory of thought crime.
Thought crime.
That's what I don't like.
There are some crimes
that's what I'm not a big fan of.
Too thoughtful.
Well, you have to.
No, I would say
it has a morality.
I don't like jail.
It's deciding whether it has a morality engine.
Let's steer clear of the morality issue.
Well, let's not. That's a dumb thing to do on a philosophy podcast. That wouldn't make any sense.
I just worry about this dystopia real quick.
That is a good commercial. That's a good point. But hey, no, for real though, I think it's a great question. And that's a hard question for me to answer, because my moral compass is the kind that says I don't really believe in good or bad, because that's how I deal with my anxiety. And also because I think that that's, for the most part, kind of true. I think that's kind of how it works. It's like there's not an objective good or an objective bad. There's too many different realities. What there is there is a lot of different realities. And I do think that the happier most of those realities are, generally makes the other realities happier. It's just a positive sort of feedback loop. I think that makes a lot of sense. So it's less of a morality engine, but the idea of if you want to actually kill people, the story can't let you do that, because is that an actualized person to kill people? I don't know, but that's not in your own best interest. That's just objectively not in your own best interest.
This thing would have to be monitored by moral philosophers and therapists and stuff, I think.
Not moral philosophers. It needs to be, there just needs to be things that it understands are objectively unhelpful for people. It is objectively unhelpful for any human being to kill another human being. That doesn't help unless it is a self-defense situation. So it has to be aware of
social inconvenience.
Sorry, what?
That gets into a weird area.
So it has to be aware of social inconvenience.
Yeah, social inconvenience. Sure. Go explain more.
There are certain things.
Then you're talking about valuing human life. It's weird. I'd hate to be in charge of that. Moral. Imagine a moral
Jeff, hold on.
department
Bill had a specific
of story
idea.
Corporation, and it's like who hires those people? What are their qualifications? Are we gonna have a licensing system for moral judges? Same with this. We mentioned
we're not gonna have moral judges. I don't like that idea.
I'm really uncomfortable with it.
Would a story be admissible in court?
Bill, are you listening? Your story would be admissible in court, but court couldn't or put people in jail anymore.
Oh man,
I don't. That's the thing. So I hate jail. I fucking think jail is so stupid. It's not productive. People have the point of story is that it's inevitable. and it's part of becoming the singularity.
Hey, if you commit thought crimes, you'll be put in thought jail where you just stay home from work and like get better.
No.
Isn't that just timeout?
You're bastardizing my invention.
I'm just goofing.
You are thinking bad thoughts. It's time for a timeout, sir. Sit down and think about what you have done about your narrative purpose.
More like that. Not really.
Take a break from your thoughts.
I think, Bill, what were you going to say? I'm sorry. I was trying to, Jeff, I didn't mean to cut you off. You started talking at the same time as Bill tried to say something for the second time.
I was just goofing.
Oh.
No, it's okay.
That's right. No, it's I think it was a phrase my dad first used with me was the term of social inconveniences. Things that are inconvenient to society if you commit them. So, it's really inconvenient to steal from somebody else, or it's really inconvenient to, kill somebody. Like, the various things that we view as crimes are basically just inconveniences to having a society work together.
Yes.
So it's whether it would be the idea of that they would have a knowledge of things that are inconvenient to society, or whether it be a completely free-thinking engine that would allow you to go, no, the possibilities are endless. Because you can explore various ideas.
I refuse to say that it's going to serve society exclusively. Like, it's not going to be an engine to serve society, because that would ruin the point of it being an individual's story. I think that's a great question.
I think first do no harm is a good policy for this kind of thing, like ethically. Yes,
exactly. That the idea that harming other human beings is not productive. Like, I think that's.
It would probably be like.
Go ahead.
Like it would offer a suggestion of. I hesitate to use the phrase of the Microsoft paperclip, because going ping, 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 you're thinking about murder is really unfortunate. But also, kind of, if you're going, hey, I'm going to offer you the thought, you're wanting to do this. Are you sure you want to? If you want it, if it's completely a individualized thing, and the person, I'm not saying that anyone who has this thing like legitimately wants to kill people. I'm just using the extreme example.
No, it's fine. That's the best way to test things.
Gave you options. And, like, the consequences to those options. If it gave you options and those consequences.
If it stops you, if it physically stops you from doing whatever you want, it becomes thought crime. If it gives you the options, then it becomes free choice again. It just basically says, are you sure you want to do this? Much like a GM going, I'm going to go set fire to this tavern. Are you sure?
Well, okay,
and then if you say yes, it's all their fault.
You hit it. So when I was pitching this to my friend Dimitri, who's in our Sinister Parent Company group chat, he's a huge literature guy, brilliant. He was the first person that I pitched this to that I thought like had things to say about it. And when we were talking about it, we talked about it for like 2 hours the other day, and we got to the idea that I thought it very much resembled a dungeon master, this device. Like, I have this image like almost of Shattered Worlds, of like story for just how I contextualize it for myself, because that's like the longest running campaign I've ever been a part of. But the idea of I think that's perfect. That RPG point of like, I can externalize my realities into my internal realities into tangible myths. How do you do that? Well, with a dungeon master. Well, that's how you do it. That's how human beings do it. We always have orators. We have storytellers. That's why it's a digital narrative assistant. Well, what is a dungeon master but a real life narrative assistant? So if this would operate like a dungeon master for real life a little bit, but at the end of the day, you still get your free choices. But you have your stats, and it knows what your stats are, and it can help you make informed decisions, and it can help you contextualize your reality. And at the end of the day, it's just trying to help you have a good individualist time while helping you interact with other people in a good, connected way. And it's trying to help everybody get along, even though maybe that won't work. And then it will help you deal with your own shit, because at the end of the day, for every human being that has a story, everyone is better off if people are able to deal with their own shit in the way they need to, rather than being told how to fucking do it by other people who don't know what they're talking about.
I suppose it's a bit like if you look at a roleplay game from like the inside of the story looking outwards, it's a handful of people wandering around making their own choices, mucking about. And then from an exterior perspective, you have an external narrator who is basically saying, here are the situations, here are the choices, here are the options. How do you solve this problem I present to you? To which the player then makes the choice. It's almost like it gives you a situation, and you're the one who finally decides what the answers are. You may give suggestions, especially if someone's doing something that you go, "Oh, this might particularly muck up the story." Like things that will mess up narrative, you would go like, "Are you sure?" Or you would throw in hints.
Yes,
but it's the idea is that yeah, it's a narrator.
Well, like, and imagine like you're pacing around your house and you're super anxious. It picks up on your behavioral patterns. And it also, if you allow it to, it won't do this unless you allow it to, but it will also connect to other people's behavior patterns when you turn that on and help you use those to contextualize your own if you want. So it's like having a psychologist god in your head a little bit. But like you're pacing around your house and you're miserable, and then you can turn on your story and it might say like, hey, would you like a mentor right now? And you have your meeting with the mentor. And what that might do, and so it knows who you know that is categorized in your brain story as a mentor, like who your mentor archetypes are. And it helps you just talk yourself into talking to one of them. Right? Like it's like instead of go ahead.
So you assign character archetypes to each person in your friends list. You don't assign them,
it knows them.
So you would have people who are like, yeah, that's potentially quite funny because it means like which people would constitute as like the king or the warrior or anything like that.
Well, like, yeah, it can get
actually kind of hilarious.
It's really hilarious because you can get it that, especially like it would go that deep. It totally would go that deep. That's fucking so funny.
I'd be everyone's
like who's the magician in your friendship group?
Y'all.
Like who's the magician in your friendship group?
Me.
Who's the magician? Which one of them is the mother wolf? Jeff, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I'm the wizard.
Oh, sorry, George, go ahead. You're the wizard. Jeff is the wizard. George, go ahead.
Okay, so I've kind of been silent mainly because like I've been kind of contemplating this whole thing and how like it would all kind of like trying to think of different ways that this could be potentially manipulated for quote unquote bad, or just in terms of corruption in general, mainly because hey, I live in Illinois, corruption is kind of in our blood. And so far hearing all this conversation go on, like I'm still wary, but I'm coming around to it. Like
that makes me happy.
Oh no, you could mess with this. You could mess with this, but we're progressively finding less wiggle room for messing.
Well,
with.
that's good because we've had 1 hour of conversation, and most of that's been me trying to pitch this bullshit. So like, not the book, the user-friendly book that I'm talking about, like it's like the only designs, every design that makes it so big seems inevitable, and it only seems inevitable because every single imperfection about it has been buffed away using lots of willpower and testing and research and all the. So like any idea can eventually make it, I think, and that's I love that we've been talking about this in that context. But George, that makes me so happy. What are some of the things that you are still struggling with?
Like on the one hand, I like the fact that it's not going to like apprehend the person, I guess, if they decide to do the bad thing, despite many warnings. But also at the same time, like it's like it would also be good if it did, but also at the same time, it could also be used as like bad in a way to just.
Well, it would be good for you. In your story, you would like to think that there was a magical device that was apprehending anyone and everyone who might do something bad. You would like that, wouldn't you? Like that would be fun. But at some point, that is the context.
Is my response.
What if you walk around and you can assign somebody's alignment? You know, like their evil score or their renegade value in Mass Effect.
It is kind of like, but Jeff, the idea behind this comes from the fact that you're only ever talking to the version of the person you're talking to is only ever the version that exists in your head. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different versions of each of us on this phone call right now. There's 5 different versions of each of us on this phone call right now. There's our versions of ourselves, and there's then the version of each of us that exists inside everyone else's heads. Story would only be able to tell me what my version of Jeff is, unless the other people on the call had agreed to share their stories with me, at which point then I could connect, it would connect those dots, and it would help me use that to better interact. Like it would help me use that to better interact with Jeff if I had questions about how to interact with Jeff. But for the most part, it wouldn't interfere at all. It's not like talking at you forever. It's an assistant, and it's a diary, and it's like, y'all know what I mean?
Can I go back to something George said? Oh,
Yes.
Go ahead, G.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
No. I was just saying yes.
George said something really great. I think this could be an awesome tourism slogan. Illinois, corruption is probably in our blood.
It probably is. I went to the Springfield once. I think it was my junior year of high school, and it was the last day of school before finals. So I missed all the review days in class to go to a protest about how we didn't have a budget or whatever. And
yes, I'm
supposedly public for anyone meeting that they had there in the courtroom at the Capitol of Illinois. The people there refused to let us in on account of we might have been demonstrators, which we were, but they had no proof of that, and thus no legal right to bar us from being inside. And also, they shouldn't have any legal right to bar demonstrators from being inside a public courtroom during a very important court meeting anyway. So there's very real corruption in our government, and I've seen it like firsthand. I've been barred from entry to public court meetings.
Judges are
along
so
with
important.
many other people.
Electing judges that are ethical is so important because they have a lot of power. I don't know if it was the judge.
It was like some lady outside who worked there.
You know, corruption is bad when even the white person can't get inside.
Oh, that's fucking tight.
That's good. Okay. I think we covered story pretty well. I'm sure we'll cover more of it in future episodes. Let's hit some prompts, listener questions, things like that.
I've got a bunch. You want to lightning round it or like short time it?
Let's just go. We'll just do the show. I think just whatever happens.
New inspirational and or truthful quotes.
Who's this from?
Crap. Let me pull it up. I think it's on my Facebook page.
Crap. Let me pull it up. I think it's on my Facebook page. Jeff Richardson.
This is from Craig Rounds.
That's the first one
on Facebook. Honesty knows no shame.
Thanks, Craig.
Honesty knows no shame. Said by me.
Honesty knows no shame. Is that one of your quotes?
And then I also, the overarching theme that I came up with out of their words was quotes of someone, but maybe me, is a very good idea.
Okay. Jeff, I'm going to let you lead the charge on this one.
I'm in it. Cowboy agenda, baby.
Yeehaw.
What's on the cowboy agenda? What are we talking about today?
I'm talking about
I got
quotes
a pistol and a gun
that I think I wrote,
I'm gonna shoot
but
in your face.
they could be from someone else. Maybe it was me. So, the prompt is quotes of someone, but maybe me.
And who's that from?
That's from Craig Rounds.
That's from Craig Rounds. Quotes from someone, but maybe me? I didn't say it.
It wasn't
I didn't
me.
say it. It wasn't me.
Maybe it was the
I
other
didn't
guy.
say it.
But maybe me.
Maybe it was the other guy.
Maybe it was the other one. It might have been him.
I mean, that could be a different thing of it being like quotes from you as opposed to quotes from me. Well, of course, it's which me. Is it the question asker, or is it myself?
I went with myself just because I know myself better. When I say a quote,
all of us claiming to be the person who asked the original question.
Mm-hmm. So imagine I attribute my quote to Abraham Lincoln, and the quote is, "When you've got poo on your shoe, kick it off before you get in the car," like Abraham Lincoln. But is it me? I don't know. That kind of thing.
Wake me up before you go by Gandhi.
Or is it me?
Or is it me? You don't know.
We're gonna get turns. Martin Luther King Jr. or was
it
that
might have
me?
been me, and it might have been Gandhi. It might have been Gandhi, and it might have been me. It might have been me, and it might have been Gandhi. It might have been Gandhi, and it might have been me. What did I say? What did I say? It wasn't me.
Be the
It
change.
wasn't me.
Oh, it wasn't you.
It
Be the
wasn't
change.
me.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
It was Gandhi. It wasn't me.
Fruit's good. Eat more.
I saw Gandhi. He was fucking butt naked, banging on the bathroom floor. It wasn't Gandhi. It was me. He was fucking my
wasn't me.
girlfriend more and more and more and more. He had a lot of sex with her. Gandhi was a whore. A whore. It wasn't me. She was
I can't
paying
believe
him,
you said God.
and he didn't want to do it. He was doing something that he didn't want to do for money, so he was a whore. My girlfriend paid Gandhi for more and more and more. She didn't pay me. She didn't pay me. She paid Gandhi, but she didn't pay me.
Hey, Aiden, are you okay? Do you need to talk about this?
She didn't pay me, and she did pay Gandhi, and that's a bummer, because like she paid Gandhi a lot, and I feel like that makes like I felt like just like the part where she paid Gandhi a lot to have sex with her was really invalidating.
So they both got a tip?
Oh my god.
No, she paid for the whole. There was the whole thing in there. She just paid for the tip, but she got the whole shaft. She just paid for the tip.
Hi, I'm Ryan Seacrest, and this has been Billboard's Top 100. This is your top one track. It's the number one track.
Quotes that might have been
My
me.
girlfriend had sex with Gandhi, and she paid him. My girlfriend had sex with Gandhi, and she paid him, and she didn't pay me.
With rubles or American money?
I think you meant rupees.
She paid him with information. She paid him with information.
No,
Wait,
that's
is it
not
rupees or
right. Is it
rupees?
rupees? No,
Top secret
that's wrong.
information.
It's rupee.
With the passive resistance against the oppression of the
It's
British.
The passive resistance against the oppression of the British was a big part of it. It was a really big part of it.
Yeah. You know, I mean, he may have had his like like celibacy, but you know, sometimes the cause is more important than their moral ideals. Because because British people are terrible.
You heard it here, folks.
He's internalized that deeply.
You've trained me well, darling. I'm fully aware. I look at myself in the mirror and go, "Wow, I'm such a colonialist." I stare at the window and I then into the mirror and I just look at myself and go, I am the voice of every single villain in every single American film. I am the epitome of evil as far as they are concerned. The villain's Russian, has an English accent. German, has an English accent.
The only exception is the Mexican accent.
I've learned.
Am I right, though?
You're not wrong.
Well,
How
then,
awesome would
exactly.
Shakespeare be with all like Mexican accents?
I'd
That'd be
pay to see
kick
that.
ass.
I'd pay
Like
to see
each,
I
that.
don't know, Jeff.
each state
Show us.
has a
You know,
different.
I would
Jeff, can you
too.
give us a
vibe.
little taste of
I'd
what
be
that
down
might
to
sound
see
like?
that.
Jeff,
I would.
Give us a demonstration.
I don't do
George
Mexican
wants a
accents because I don't
demonstration.
know all
I
the
wanted
different
George
flavors, and it's
Jeff,
also
it would
probably
be racist at
racial
this point
appropriation.
not to do it. It would
I'm
be
saying it's
racist
okay.
not to do it at this point.
I'm saying it's okay.
George said it was okay, so at this point it would be racist not to do it. Jeff, I'll even give you synth backing. You can sing a song for us about what that might sound like. I'll give you like
Yeah, the whole like, do you bite your thumb at us? Would probably be quite good.
do you bite your thumb at us? Do you bite your tongue at us? Some classic good idea. Here, Jeff, you're gonna do great.
To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune.
Boy, Hamlet, what you doing?
Sorry, I don't know the rest of it.
Died.
I remembered it though once for a modeling agency. Hey, we have time for one more.
Cheer up, bro.
New kinds of Draculas.
New kinds of Draculas. I think that's from Jeff, right?
Dracula.
It's a really good idea.
Yeah, it was
Dracula
pretty
doing
good.
drag.
I was bouncing off of George.
Dracula doing drag.
Ooh. Dracula.
Dracula? That's actually a show on Netflix.
That's also
And
a
it's
song.
also, yeah. Wait, what? It's a song?
What?
Dracula.
Yeah, Dracula by Rob Zombie.
Huh.
But this Dracula
Yeah, Dracula,
is
it's a
actually
song.
a drag race, like with a car, you know, like Keanu Reeves did in Parenthood.
You just have like Dracula as like a sort of a like a social media influencer, just turning up and just like making people become their followers, and that's how you turn them into vampires. Is you follow Dracula and then you become like their
Shaquille O'Neal
Renfields.
is Shacula.
Bang. I need to.
Okay, this is good. Now we're cooking with gas. We've got Shacula, and we have. I mean, you basically created Kylie Jenner, so Instagram Dracula, Instagramula.
Am I wrong? It's the Gramula.
TikTokula. Oh, that's good.
Slamula.
Let's go back to Shacula. How cool is that guy? I haven't heard any like messed up things about him. You know, you think of Draculas as bloodsuckers.
His hips don't
What's that?
lie.
Let's go back to
I said his hips don't
Shacula. I
lie.
haven't heard any bad things about that guy. His hips don't lie. I just want to talk to Shacula.
And hopefully not die.
His hips don't lie. He's a baller on the court, and his hips don't lie. He's a baller on the court, and he's Shaq. He's a pretty cool guy, and I've never heard any bad things.
Do you guys know if Draculas
Someone
can
else.
have like bad
And you
knees or
never
shaky hips?
will.
Because
I'll
Shacula is
never
pretty
hear
old.
Any bad things about my best friend Shaq? Shaq, Shaq, I'll never
Wait.
hear any bad things about Shacula, Shacula, Shacula. I'll never hear
This
any
is
bad
getting a
things
little
about
bit
Shacula.
too close into the territory of ejacula.
Oh God!
Ejaculate in me.
He only comes in when you invite him.
Oh, you have to invite
What
it
have I
in.
done?
That's good. I like
Shacula's
that.
kid.
What have I
I
done?
want Shacula's baby. He can ejaculate me.
Random thought.
I've never heard any single bad
Jeff is
thing about
disgusted.
Shacula, so he'd be a dad thing. He'd be a great dad thing. A dad thing, Shacula. He can make his
Hey,
hips
before we
move
do,
all the time up and down the court, and his hips don't lie.
Is
His
Shacula
hips
a
don't
dadula?
Oh,
lie.
a blood-sucking dad? Bad dad. Not a good dad. Hey, before we
Bad
get into picks of the
dad.
week, I'm going to get more
Bad
coffee.
dad.
I'll be right back.
Jeff is a coffee fiend, man.
Oh my
I think
goodness.
during recording episode, we only record for about an hour and 40 minutes usually, and he'll drink like 3 or 4 cups of coffee.
I can't believe this has
You
been
used
an
to
hour and
visit
40
from
minutes.
Decafula.
Why'd you have to say that while I was drinking
Jeff
water? I
really
almost
ought to
choked.
drink decafula. He ought to drink decafula because Jeff will be very jittery if he doesn't drink
Decafula.
decafula. Jeff will drink decafula and he won't be caffeinated no more. And
He'll be up all night.
he'll be up all night and that would be fine and that would be all right.
Would he be
All
up all
right,
night to get lucky?
all right, I'm fine.
Decafula is the worst Dracula. Like, all he does is sneak into people's houses that have decaf, and sometimes they don't even have decaf, or it's like tea or whatever, and he makes a sad cup of that. Fuck, that guy's life sucks.
What about Taxula? What about Taxula?
Oh, fuck you.
Taxula, he only comes out during
Fired,
April.
Taxula.
Blah.
Oh no, I did not want
I'm the
I
IRS agent.
I just want to make it tax deductible.
The different ovens are H&R Block and that other one. You know, the other one.
And that other
Sloan
one.
Kettering or whatever.
I want to suck your insurance fraud.
Is it Bausch and Lomb? I can't remember.
I want to commit some fraud.
I think Bausch and Lomb is.
I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. They don't let us do that.
I think Bausch and Lomb is so.
I think it's
Jeff.
eye care products and tax relief, tax help, tax preparation.
Is this a
Assistance.
Yamaha situation?
Okay. All right.
Is this a
So
Yamaha
both-
situation where Yamaha both makes
taxidermy.
instruments and motorcycles?
I suck the blood out of the people
They
and
also
I
make
turn them
yarmulkes.
into sacks of non-living, empty, no money having, poor government ruined fools.
Saxula.
Ruled by the government.
Now, if only I had some reeds, this would have been a perfect time to whip out my saxophone.
I'm never gonna suck again.
All right.
I suck too much
Oh, God.
and learned
Oh,
my
Saxula.
lesson. I really shouldn't suck again the way I sucked on
Black Dracula
you.
just has a problem.
What?
Black Dracula has a gambling problem.
Black Dracula
Jack-
has a gambling
Black
Black
Dracula.
Dracula.
Black Dracula has a gambling problem, like a serious one.
Honestly, was really worried for a
Yeah.
second
Okay,
there, but
okay.
then I got it.
So
I got
Suxula
it.
is
Blackjack.
just your negative
Black
friend.
Dracula.
You have to invite them in and they just tell you their whole shitty week or whatever
Black
and
Dracula.
just bum you out.
Sorry,
Did you say Black
Dracula.
Dracula?
No, Black
Right, like-
Dracula.
like-
Like
They
Blackjack.
turn their
No, I
friends
know,
into
I know,
gamblers.
But
No,
gee,
I-
you were
I'm not
thinking
being
about Black
racist.
Dracula. And we already did the Shacula song.
Yes,
so it's okay.
I was. I thought
No,
that's
it's
what he
fine. We already
said,
did
and
the
it scared
Shacula
me. But we
song.
already did
It's
Shacula.
Shacula. It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a black exploitation
Yes.
film called Blackula that I swear to God, the trailer described him as Dracula's soul brother, and it hurt me to the core of my
known for
being.
not having
It
souls.
hurt me.
That's like most of their thing.
I,
Weird.
very, very awkward. I'm partially curious to watch it to go like, oh my God, it's that bad. Like, or it could be like that. Like, it could be equally just that, ridiculous.
Is Stacula
Oh my
good at
goodness.
Tetris?
Oh,
Stacula is
yes.
great at Tetris. Jeff, you
Stacula.
suggested Snacula, Jeff. I really like the idea of
mentioned
Snacula. Does
Snacula.
Snacula come into your house and suck all the milk out of your milk jug and
Just whatever you got.
eat
Whatever
all
is
the
close
Oreos
to
out of your
snack.
Oreo?
And Snacula gets pissy if all you have is like green tea packets and like rice crackers. Then he's a dick about it.
Yeah.
And then he turns you into a snack hoarder. I mean, it's a whole thing.
What about Cracula?
So I think the best way to
I don't like that at all.
ground and I'm gonna before we go into our outro here and talk about our picks of the week and everything. I just want to say I think the for Dr. Mod, our good friend, the best way to ground and manage your anxiety. This is the Shyamalan twist, by the way. Forget everything we said about story. Well, don't. But for the sake of this joke, do. But this is the real Shyamalan twist at the end of the episode: is that the vampire is a shapeshifter archetype and a myth based on the idea that human beings are not just one being, but multiple beings inside themselves. And so the best way for you to ground your anxiety is to manifest every single anxiety in your life as some sort of metaphor vampire with multiple personalities, like every
These
human
motherfuckers
has.
are out to get you.
But you control
They're
the
like
vampires,
demons.
and if you control they're like demons. So you control. This is the magic shit, right? I was talking earlier, like Del Close was a witch, and I think I might be Del Close a little bit. And all it is to be a magician is to manifest your will into reality through words or whatever else. Like I have trickster power. I'm a trickster hero, right? My words manifest my reality. Other people do different things. Some people have like very kinesthetic power. Whatever your magic is, like, but I think the best one to do is vampires. Anyone, regardless of what your magic is, can manifest their anxiety as anxiety vampires. That they are under control of because they manifested the anxiety vampires. So you just start telling people stories about vampires, is my suggestion. And you talk about the vampires that you see and interact with every day. And you don't ever refer to them as anxiety vampires. And you make different ones.
Don't
with
be a
different,
succula.
They're different sort of puns on Dracula. So what, Jeff?
Don't be a succula. Be a
Yeah, don't be a
trucula.
succula. Be a trucula. So yeah, you could talk about, and then you can go on a tear about succula and trucula and the story of the day those two met. And you use that as sort of a way to communicate your anxiety to people through metaphor and by talking about these vampires that you interact with and know and how awful they are. But then that'll scare those other people into being afraid of the same things you are, and you control the stories. You start telling the stories, manifesting your anxiety vampires in different situations. They're not so scary after all once you realize that they're yours to control. So once you give your anxiety names and decide that it's your story to tell, and make it all vampires, because that's fun, you'll be great, at least a little bit better. Everything is just a story, and it's more fun that way.
Hold on.
Okay, and now
Hold
let's
on.
do...
And Dr.
go ahead.
Mod's
Yes,
Dr.
do it.
Mod's other word was grounding, and as we all know, vampires love it underground.
They love it underground.
Oh yeah.
Everything's happy underground. Let's do, especially vampires. The thing with vampires underground too is there's no sun under there.
Turn off the
and
sun
vampires-
and let's get down.
Vampires hate the sun because they love grounding, and they can't have the sun, and so they can't ground their kids. And so they hate the sun because they love grounding and they love being underground, but they can't ground anything because they can't be around the sun. and have you ever seen a female vampire?
I think I think the show's energy is tapering off at this
tapering
point.
off really hard, but that's good. That's what we want. I'm trying to do that. I was going to play us out, and it was going to be all good and great, and then we needed to talk about the vampire. I don't even know what we just talked about. Fuck, man. I don't know.
Succulent,
I don't know.
Dracula or something.
You're right.
Twist.
It's tapering off. There's a big Shyamalan twist, and I had to do it at some point. Let's back up. Let's pretend the show's energy never
The greatest twist
tapered.
could have been there was no twist.
There was no. Well, the biggest twist would be that there was no twist and that nothing happened at all. But of course, the real biggest twist was just that the answer to Anthony's problem had nothing to do with story at all, and everything to do with vampires, which are real and tangible, unlike stories. That's the key, right? Is you have to understand stories in that way. And once you understand stories in the way that thoughts are as real and tangible as things around you, because nothing can go inside your brain or into your processed space without only existing in your brain first. That idea that there's 5 versions of each of us on this call, right? You're going to be great. Everything's a story. Make your anxiety into vampires and then don't slay them. It's more fun if you control them. Use them. Talk to them. They're yours. Anxiety is a gift of capacity. Hey, you guys.
Yes.
What is everyone's pick of the week? That is something that a piece of media you have consumed, enjoyed, whatever, over the last week, and want to recommend because you think it's inspiring or fantastic.
I just realized that I have been so focused on Bill getting here and like making time go faster that I have not been consuming media.
That's okay. It can be something that wasn't in the last week. It can be
Bill.
a different piece of media.
Well, I, on the other hand, had time to burn while I was trying to get there, so I just ended up watching a bunch of different stuff. Just before I made my journey, the beginnings of my journey to come over to America, I ended up discovering that both Devil's Carnival films are on Amazon Prime. I didn't know this, and I was very excited about this fact. So I will use that. The Devil's Carnival was made by the same people who did Repo Genetic Opera and are doing American Murder Song right now. It is basically a combination of Aesop's fables and the idea of what if hell is organized like a carnival show, and the people who get sent there are made part of the act. And it's weird and very cool.
I am 100% sure that I've chosen Repo the Genetic Opera as my pick of the week before. But Bill has... Thank you. But Bill has reminded me that it's my favorite movie, so I'm going to pick it again.
There you go.
Jeff is like so disappointed that that's my favorite movie. It's not because
like.
it's a good movie,
I just
Jeff.
can't tolerate bad writing. I'm a snob that way. I feel bad about it. It's
so bad. That's why it's my
bad.
favorite.
It's like hurtful bad. Ugh.
I mean, you should look at the Rocky Horror Picture Show. They just gave up.
Oh my god! But Rocky Horror Picture Show fucking rules.
No, they genuinely did.
No, they did. But you're right.
They actually did.
I know.
Awesome. How many?
It's awesome, but how weird it is.
It's really weird. But how many of y'all are
I'm just
aware that I
angry
played
that we
Rocky and
compared-
Rocky Horror Picture Show last year? That was fun. That was really fun.
I did know
Hey,
that.
I got
Yeah.
one.
Oh my god. Go ahead. You got one? Yes, please.
Yeah. I just realized this week, as I was like, I don't know, commenting or tweeting or something, that The Wizard of Oz is my favorite movie. And I think if people haven't seen it for a while, they should watch it. They should really get grooving with it. Maybe listen to their favorite album along with it. Started at the second roar. I'm just saying, it's a really good movie.
It matches up really well with Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Wall.
Dark Side of the Moon. But
that's not a
Dark
real
Side
album.
of the Wall
No,
is good
I know,
too.
but
They just put the songs together. Didn't master it at all. It's a fucking horror
Just
show.
combine Another Brick in the Wall and Dark Side of the Moon and just make them into one super album.
It's super good. It's really good with Head in the Heart's Let's Be Still album.
If you play Dark Side of the Moon upside down, it sounds like this.
No, it doesn't. It sounds beautiful. Up,
And that's the
down,
dark side of the
sideways,
wall.
in and out. Pink Floyd is an
George?
interdimensional being. Go on.
My
Oh,
pick
no,
of the
it's
week-
fine. It's good.
My pick of the week is gonna be let's see. No, I'm gonna go with since we're all talking about movies and stuff, I'm gonna go with honestly my favorite movie, I think, right now. I think it's Pixar's Coco. Mainly because of the representation and how authentic it nails it.
Hell
And
yes.
also made me cry at the end. Also, plot twist. I was not a cowboy and I was not a city slicker. I am a mole man. That is your M. Night Shyamalan actual twist.
Shyamalan.
Aiden, what's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week? Oh goodness, that's a great question. My pick of the week is probably gonna have to be, I'm gonna go with the podcast Harmontown. I don't know if I've recommended it on this show before or not
so
as
good.
my pick of the week, but it's really good. It's really good, and I like listening to it. And
Awesome.
I started, I think, back in the early
It's-
2012 stuff. What was that, G?
I think it's
Oh, what's it about? It's kind of like this show a little bit. It's live. It is live play though. They do it in front of an audience. It's like in LA. It's with Dan Harmon and some of his friends, and it's like improv-y, and it has a lot of influence on Good Idea for sure, which I know I've mentioned. I know for a fact I've at least mentioned that about the show. I am a big fan of it. I think that what's cool about it though is that I only found it recently, and it reminded me of how like the way they talk on that podcast to each other reminds me of how my brain talks to itself. And that podcast is what got me into story structure, which was like huge and revelatory for me as a human being and as an artist. So it's really cool. I strongly recommend it. You'll see parallels between that show and this show, which means you'll probably like it.
Aiden,
Yeah, that's my pick of the week.
Can I pick a new segment? It's what's your M.
Yes,
Night
please.
Shyamalan twist? Just for next time. It might be fun.
Hell yeah. Yeah. No, we should do it for this time. Let's do it. What's your M. Night Shyamalan twist, everybody?
I'm 3 penguins inside a human suit. Sorry, darling.
I knew it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to be
Very
the first time
authentic
you hear
human
it,
suit.
but,
I knew it.
That's a very authentic human suit.
I have
got
to
the
deal
accent
with this.
down.
That's
George?
my M. Night Shyamalan twist. Is now I have to deal with this.
Oh, you have to deal with this
just
now.
found out.
Okay,
just
George,
like
how about
an
you?
M.
What's
Night
your M. Night
Shyamalan
Shyamalan twist?
I already did my M. Night Shyamalan
He
twist.
did.
I'm not
He
a
did do
cowboy.
his.
I'm not a
Think of
city
it.
slicker. I'm a mole man.
Mole Man.
Oh, right. Okay, I know that, but I didn't know if that was part of it. Was that in this segment, or was that a little bit ago?
That's what inspired
It's a
me
little
to
bit
make
before
this
the segment,
segment.
right? Or did I? Oh, okay, that's very good. George, good inspiration. Jeff, good support and follow through. I think my M. Night Shyamalan twist is gonna have to be, oh boy, I am gonna go immediately after this podcast and drink any fountain that will have me. Jeff, what's your M. Night Shyamalan twist?
I'm a fountain.
Whoa!
And yes, I will have you.
All comes full circle.
All right, is that the end of the show? Is that it? Can we end on that? Because that's a good place to
our
that's
end.
about-
favorite bit.
No,
we didn't do our
we
favorite
still have to
bits.
do our favorite bit.
Oh, okay.
Which is favorite bit. What's everyone's favorite bit of the episode? Go.
What we
do it,
just
do it.
did. What we just
M. Night
did.
Shyamalan twist?
Yeah.
well, that means it's officially
Didn't see
a
that
new
coming.
segment of the show. I rather enjoyed the just dropping into philosophical discussions about morality and the story conversation, but that's because I'm a massive nerd.
We all are here. It's okay.
No, but I'm really, really thankful for you guys letting me ramble about that for so long. That was really kind of you, and I am glad I got that recorded somewhere. And you guys asked really good, helpful questions.
Cowboy
George,
agenda.
favorite bit?
Mine is a tie between our conversation with the story and just the different kinds of Dracula. My favorite is Shacula.
It's so good.
I love that Shacula became a
Shacula.
mix between Shakira, and Shacula. It's very good.
Yeah.
Hey, bud.
Snackula too.
Dracula took a huge dunk on you.
New segment idea. Dracula of the week.
Shacula's huge stinking dunk.
Jeff, what was your favorite bit?
Yeah, Jeff, what was your favorite bit, my dude?
I mean, we didn't really get into it too much, but just the idea that Illinois would have a tourist slogan that corruption is pretty much in our blood.
Yeah.
Just, I really feel like we need to explore that some more. But really, I do love the story. I think if we could get developing on that, if you could make that happen, I'd be into it.
I mean, yeah. Hey, listeners, send us questions and ideas about that. Spread the word to people about listening to this and see what they think. I would love to talk more about it. If any of you guys have more thoughts on it going forward too, like bring them to the table for me. Awesome. My favorite idea of the episode was honestly the whole thing. I really enjoyed having Bill here. It was a fun new energy. It was fun.
Yes.
I think the Bill's harmonica was my favorite bit. If I had a favorite bit. Oh yeah, of course. I like simple things like that.
Can
it's
we
very
go
like
out with harmonica?
I mean, yeah, if you like.
Oh, absolutely. We can go out with harmonica. I think we're about there too. So that's I'm gonna play a song, and you can play harmonica. And Jeff and George and G, if you guys want to sing and do some stuff, let's take ourselves out of this. Let's have a finale here. I think that would be really fun.
Harmonicula.
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 That's my favorite podcast. Harmonicula Town. Harmonica Town.
It out there?
Yeah.
I want to make a music.
I've sucked all the musical talent out of everyone in the world.
Oh no! He's got me!
Please invite me in and we can play harmonicas together.
Y'all are creating an army of Draculas, and I am terrified.
They should have called that movie that. It would have been way more popular.
It's Dracula
Army of
into the
Draculas.
Draculaverse.
Into the Draculaverse!
And you got like Shaq with fake teeth and a cape. You've
Like a
got
noir Dracula
a guy
who's
that's just a
convicted.
I
stoner
would
eating
die
snacks.
for this!
Noir Dracula that's still inexplicably voiced by Nicolas Cage.
Did you say Wa Dracula?
Noir.
Noir.
Oh, Noir. Okay, because Wa Dracula could be something.
Wah!
It's Waluigi.
Wah!
Meh.
I think we did it.
You gotta hold that closer to the microphone.
Hey guys, do you think we could get the real Dracula to play one of the characters in this show?
Yo,
What?
that'd be tight. Although he is a vampire and they like suck people's blood, so I don't know if I'd want him on set.
I mean, you'd have to like
Let's get
change
him
the
on
time
Skype.
slots. Make sure.
Yeah, let's do a Skype call. Of course, it'd have to be at night.
You won't
in
be able to see him on
whatever, Central
camera.
Europe.
You won't be able to see him on camera, but you can definitely hear him.
Wouldn't
He can
Computer
just
screen
voice
Barnum?
one of the parts.
infrared camera.
We've never caught like a live Dracula burning on screen before. That's all I'm saying. Like, I think if we could get the real Dracula to play a part, that would be a really good way to catch him and finally destroy anxiety.
I mean, you know, having at least one of our guests spontaneously immolate in the sun, it would definitely be impressive. But it's a trick you only really could do once, because once the episode's released, you go, hey, hey, Birdie, do you want to like come onto our on our podcast, like,
right?
You know,
and the answer is no.
There'd be liability issues.
Oh, you shitting me? Health and
know?
safety goes mad. I'm not doing that.
And the undead insurance company would raise your rates. Like, it'd be a whole thing.
I'd be very upset with you.
That was a good idea.
We hope.
I would be very upset with you if you raise my undead insurance rates, you motherfucker. We are done here.
I'll see you April 15th.
This episode is really interesting, too, because it just sort of ends.